It's Patricia Young. I just wanted to hop on really quickly that there was a question in one of the closed Facebook groups. Somebody who had said, I shared with my partner about the trait of being highly sensitive. I think my partner may have some or all of the traits. And my partner responded with a quote about how our parents just kind of mess us up. Now what? So I wanted to take a few minutes. We started to type out an answer and it was just a little too tedious. So it's sometimes easier for me to just jump on and record. What I started to say is being a highly sensitive person, it's an innate trait that we're born with. So the research shows that those highly sensitive people that are born into environments that are supportive, we have parents that get us, our outcomes are really good. And where most of us fall is having parents who just didn't understand the trait of high sensitivity. And so what that means is we're deeply feeling, deeply thinking kids. And so we often worry about things. We think about things. We don't sleep well at night because we're anxious, or we're worried about animals or other kids that aren't doing as well. And when we share this with our parents or caregivers, they don't understand because it's not how they're wired. And so they tell us not to worry. They tell us to just let it go. And that doesn't really meet and honor our needs. And so this is where some of that disconnect comes in. What the research shows, this is Dr. Elaine Aron's research. She's the one that coined the trait highly sensitive person. She says that those kids that don't have adults or caregivers that are, the word I'm going to use is attuned with them, have higher rates of anxiety and depression. And what we know is there's something called differential susceptibility, and it's Belsky and Plus did the research. And for highly sensitive people, if you put us in a positive environment, we're going to fare better than non-HSPs. So if we look at this childhood, if we have parents or caregivers that are attuned, we fare better than the non-HSPs. If you put us in an environment where our adults or caregivers are not attuned, we fare worse, which is where the anxiety and depression comes from. The good news is that moving forward, 50% of clients in therapy are highly sensitive people, and they have better outcomes than those who are not highly sensitive. So even if we've got what I call wounding, for lack of better language, from childhood, and often we get messages like, you worry too much, you think too much, you're too sensitive. And so we get the message that how we show up in the world is not okay, and it's how we're wired. We just are not with people that understand our traits. How we become empowered, educated, highly sensitive people is to really learn to embrace all those feelings and traits. Ideally, when we're kids, we would be raised by parents that would really embrace our deep thinking and our deep feeling and our high levels of empathy and our noticing of subtleties and things like fabrics and scratchy noises. And they'd help us so that when we have these big feels, they would understand, mirror back to us that, of course, that's how we're feeling. They would stay calm and they would help guide us about how we need to rest and what works for us. That's the ideal situation. The majority of people that I work with did not receive that, and I'm one of those people. No fault, no blame. So now we have the opportunity to really learn as much as we can about the trait, about how we're wired, to figure out what we're needing and feeling, and to change those negative messages so that when somebody does tell us, you're being so picky, you're so dramatic, you're so intense, we know what that means for us and we feel okay about it. And so kind of going back to this question that somebody had posted with sharing with her partner about being a highly sensitive person. And what I often see is people that don't like the traits of being sensitive. There's that history of misattunement there where they were told that how they show up in the world is not okay. So there's some healing that needs to be done in order to really kind of peel away the wounding so that we can really get to the trait of being highly sensitive. It definitely comes with some challenges. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but I often see many polls that say, like, if you could take away your trait of high sensitivity, would you? I wouldn't, because I've worked really hard to do the healing. It still comes up. It's something that I need to practice in my life on a regular basis. That's not about being highly sensitive. That's about being a human being and having things that come up in life that challenge us. And the more tools that we have to deal with the challenges, and we can accept them, feel the feelings, do what we need to do, and move through it, the more ease we're going to have. If our expectation is that life is like, if I wasn't sensitive, things wouldn't bother me and I'd be having this blissful life, my personal belief is life is going to be pretty challenging because life is about having things that come up that bump up against us that are uncomfortable. We get to feel whatever's coming up, look at it, figure out what we need to do, and we can move through it. It's that resistance. Like, I hate being so sensitive. I hate that things affect me. I hate being so tired. That's what causes, the word that I'm going to use is suffering. That creates suffering for us. That's not about the trait of being sensitive. That's about having a difficult time navigating with things that come up that we bump up against. So going back to what this person posted, that it's really about seeing what is it about sensitivity that isn't working, and is it about wounding, and really learning about the traits and doing the work that we need to do so that we embrace being highly sensitive. The other thing that happens is if we don't do our work, the truth is I had a thought and I can't remember what it was, so I thought I could talk my way through it. Let me just pause for a second and see if I can get that elusive thought back. I'm not sure what it was, but I really honestly believe that the traits that we have are gifts. We're creative. We see solutions to problems that other people don't. We notice things that other people don't. We tend to learn things. We have a very strong sense of justice and what's fair. We tend to be great at leading, and we know what makes people comfortable, and we're great as, my mind is just kind of going blank. We're just great at connecting with people. And somebody posted recently in the group about being in a leadership position, and although it has some challenges, her team is really strong because she has that empathy and that ability to see what it is that people need and to meet those needs. And so there are so many strengths that we have. And when we figure out how to work with our trait of sensitivity, our life really can open up and just begin to unfold. I don't care who you are, whether you're highly sensitive or not, things are going to be challenging. And if you think that just not being sensitive means that you're not going to have a challenging life, I mean, see how that works for you. If that works for you, great. That is certainly not my experience. So it's really about learning and becoming an educated and empowered HSP, learning how to embrace the traits that come up. If you need extra tools, then there are places where you can get them. You can always reach out to me at unapologeticallysensitive@gmail.com. I'm happy to give you resources. But I just wanted to jump on and talk about this really briefly. Remember, sensitivity is nothing to apologize for. It's our superpower. Have a blessed day.